Please welcome Steve Ballmer!
I'm excited to be here at the MTB. As I walked, try to get a sense of the whole crowd, I got to tell you, the size, the energy, the compression factor on the people in the room, it's a little tight in here. It all seemed a little cozy, a little intimate. And I think the venue for a lot of hard work this week. But I think this event will be one of the most fun of the year, frankly. We have the products that we want, that we need to go out and do our job. We got people, I think, in the right frame of mind from everything I saw and heard to really get in and learn about them. And frankly, I kind of like this event. It's a different event. I know we had about a 30 at the sales meeting. It's a little different kind of event than sales meeting. But some might argue it's a little more productive event than the sales meeting. I told you that, by the way, under NDA. Don't tell your sales counterparts. But I think we're going to have a lot of fun this week. It's my pleasure to have a chance to really kick things off. And what I'm going to try to do during the next 45, 50 minutes, something like that, is have a chance to kind of set a high-level frame. They tell me this is the only non-technical, although I was listening to the last speech too, they tell me I'm the only non-technical speech that you'll get this week. I hope that's largely true, but I hope you come away with a sense of why I'm optimistic, what we see on the horizon, and why I think we've got the right formula in place to go take care of our top competitors by having the right products, the right level of excellence, and the right strategy. So that's what I want to try to do during the next 45 minutes. Before I dive in, I want to make a point to this group that I've had a chance to make at the company meeting, at the sales meeting, that I think is very important. The last year has been, well, a little tougher than some other years around here. I think we can all recognize that. Small show of hands, how many folks have been with the company less than a year? They don't know anything else? How many people have been with the company over 5 years? They know a lot of other things, and everybody in between, God bless you too. But the last year has been a trying year. The lawsuit, everybody wanted to say, oh, Microsoft, have they lost the edge? And then we came with the .NET stuff, but people are wondering, are we relevant? We are doing as good work as we've ever done. You know that. You'll see that in everything we talk about, the new products that are coming, the .NET strategy. But it's been a tough year. And I think it's always instructive to take a look at how other people deal with challenge. Because we're going to get challenged every few years. Every few years, for the 20 years I've been at Microsoft, somebody has written, this is the year that Microsoft's coming down. And has it happened in 20 years? No. Might we be down a little bit sometimes? Maybe a little bit. Do we stay down? Never. Why don't we take a look? I want to just show a little bit of a video. Some of you had a chance to see at the sales meeting about a fight Muhammad Ali had in 1975 that I consider somewhat allegorical and representative of maybe the way we've had to take some blows this year. So if we could roll the video, please.
And here comes the Ali people out of the dressing room, and all of the questions will be answered. This is an awesome bar of George Foreman against the varied boxing skills of Muhammad Ali. So the stage is set. We're just about ready to begin. Round one. This time, the championship is at stake. Here we go. Ali quickly across the round. Round one. Ali bouncing around, shifting left for right. George moves slow. Ali gets the first punch in. The right hand. That punch did no damage. That one did. Two wild right hands taken on the side of the head of Muhammad Ali. There's a real strong right hand just underneath the heart. And Muhammad Ali is taking the punishment now. About 8 seconds left in the round.
Bell rang. Ali went back to the corner. He was in the ring with a man he could not dominate, who was stronger than him, who was not afraid of him, who was going to try to knock him out, and who punched harder than Ali could punch. And this man was determined and unstoppable. And Ali had a look on his face that I'll never forget. It's the only time I ever saw fear in Ali's eyes. Ali looked as if he looked into himself and said, all right, this is the moment. This is what you've been waiting for. This is that hour. And do you have the guts? And he kind of nodded to himself like, you got to get it together, boy. You really got to get it together. And you are going to get it together. You will get it together. And then he turned to the crowd and he went, Ali Ballmer. And 100,000 people all yelled back, Ali Ballmer. And this huge reverberation of the crowd came back into the ring. And Ali picked it up almost as if these are my people. This is what I'm here for. All right, the time has come. I'm going to find a way to master this man.
Ali tries to tie him up.
Foreman, like everyone else, had assumed that Ali would dance. And so Ali now went to the ropes and went into the rope-a-dope. And a lot of people thought at that moment the fight was over, especially on television where they saw it, because it looked like Foreman was now killing a very weak Ali. And for that round, and for the next round, and for the next round, Ali lay against the ropes in the rope-a-dope. And he kept talking to Foreman. And it was extraordinary. He had to be close to see it, but it was all because it was intimate. And Foreman was throwing these prodigious punches that the sparring partners had thrown, and Ali swung like a man in the rigging. He'd go all the way back. He'd slide out. He'd come in and out of it like that. And occasionally he'd get hit. And he'd say, George, you disappoint me. You don't hit as hard as I thought you would. George, you're not hitting hard enough. You're not breaking popcorn, George. You're just not hitting. And Foreman's insane with rage. And whanging at him and whanging at him and whanging at him. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And middle of the fifth round, Foreman was worn out. He had punched himself out, taken 3 rounds.
Ali picks it up a little bit about...
Was Ali in trouble? In this allegory, was he on the ropes for a reason? Was he girding his strength to come back? Or was he going to be taken down? It's the sort of the place we are. We've had kind of a little bit of a tough year. In some ways, a little bit of a tough year. And the question is, do we have the strength? Do we have the conviction? Do we have the strategy, the plan to come back? It hasn't been a bad year if you look at it by the numbers, just if you look at the newspapers. $22.9 billion in revenue, $3.2 billion of growth. There's nary a company in the world that has ever grown as much as $3.2 billion. We have 400 million customers around the world. Try to find any other company except maybe McDonald's that can match that. We're the 4th most valuable company in the world, and 1, 2, and 3, I think they're going to see their hard times yet in front of them. We've got an incredible team of 40,000 people. We've got the strongest product lineup in the next 12 months that we've ever had, and I think I certainly do tell customers, we're in a position today with our services to support them 7x24, to put skin in the game, and to do whatever they need us to do in order to help them take advantage of our products and technology. From a technical standpoint in the field, we've had a great year. MCS grew by about 36%, over $500 million in revenue, and what's most important is we have a team that can sign up to do the biggest projects in the world. We did about 10,000 projects last year, and we averaged about 2 consultants per. You know, if you take a look, IBM only did about 8,200 projects last year. Sun 400, Oracle 5,000. Their projects are bigger, they have more consultants on them, they last a longer time perhaps, and there may be something we need to learn out of that. But we've had an amazing touch against our customers through MCS. We've seen our premier business grow dramatically. We've had customer satisfaction improvements in all of our big subsidiaries, and what's perhaps even more important, customer dissatisfaction has dropped by up to 20% in our largest subs. And in some senses, minimizing customer dissat is as important as maximizing customer sat. If you take a look at what our TSs and SEs have been able to accomplish, we've reported over 8,400 line of business wins in the last year. We've got Windows 2000 on its way to being established, and I think between the work people have done in advance and the extra work we'll do here at MTB, we have ourselves in a position to really drive into the enterprise, the services, the support, the products. So we may have taken a couple body blows. McNeely may be swinging away with it at us, and Ellison, and come on, Scott, you're not breaking popcorn. We're ready to get into this thing. Let's look deep in ourselves. Let's look deep in ourselves and make sure that this is the year, oops, the light ends there. Let's make sure that this is the year in which we take it to the next level. We listen to those customers. We get those design wins. We do absolutely our best technical work. As Charles said, if a customer says we want skin in the game technically, what do we say? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. We're there. We'll be there for you. And we'll get ourselves probably in a jam or two along the way, but let's go get the business. You guys can do that. I'm sure of it. And the R&D groups and the PSS groups will be there to back us up and make sure that those wins are successful. So I think we've got it. Let's see what Ali had after being bloodied and battered for a little while. Was it a strategic move, or is he dead? I think he's just like Microsoft. Let's roll the rest of the video.
Another sneaky right hand. This time he works over the shoulder of Foreman.
He did it. He's champion again. We couldn't believe it. It was such a classic performance and so beautiful that at the moment Ali hit the knockout punch, Foreman began to go. Ali followed him around, and Ali had his right cocked for one more punch, but he never threw it. It was that he didn't want to ruin the aesthetic of this man going down with a clumsy punch on the way down.
Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali, he was like a sleeping elephant. You can do whatever you want around a sleeping elephant. Whatever you want. But when he wakes up, he tramples everything.
Muhammad Ali, Boumaye, Muhammad Ali Boumaye.
When it's sundown this year, let's not ruin the aesthetic. Let's make sure we enjoy each and every win as we rip them away from Sun, from Oracle, from Linux. We've got the ammunition. We've got Windows 2000. We've got the first service pack. We've got SQL 2000. We're getting BizTalk. We're getting the new Commerce Server product, the App Center. We are ready. We are prepared. We're going to take this thing. We're going to win. And people just have to feel good about that. Go get trained and prepared this week. And then we'll have just an incredible, incredible fiscal year 01. Where does this all come from? What are we trying to accomplish? We talk about competition. Control your business. We've given the world more in the way of tools to help knowledge workers dig into things than they've ever had before. And you know what? We haven't seen anything yet. If you think about some of the things and you see what we'll do in Office 10 and what comes beyond, we have, I think, still barely scratched the surface of letting people have the tools to analyze knowledge, to express themselves. Digital economy. People talk about the digital economy. Today, has most commerce really been fundamentally affected by the internet? Either B2B or B2C? Nah. There's been a lot of blah, blah, blah in the press. Huge amount of blah, blah, blah in the press. You know, Cisco will say we do 18 billion or 20 billion of online commerce. You know what that is? They transferred EDI orders to internet orders. The world hasn't yet begun to really change in terms of the way the business backbone of society gets replumbed, the way customer relationships get built. Think about you as individuals. Think about the ways in which you're entertained. I think the internet has started to really have a transforming effect, but there's so much more to come. David Vaskovich likes to talk about something he calls digital memories. How do you record your entire life and be able to access it again digitally? How many people here take videos of their kids and then can never find the video that they actually want to go back and look at? My parents must have taken order of magnitude 600 to 800 slides, pictures per year when we were kids. I can never find anything. I want my digital memories. I want them easily accessible. That'll be possible with the kinds of dreams I have and I think our company has about what technology can do. And it's that dream of transforming the world that I think really brings us together to build products, to sell products, to make sure customers can use them very well, to make sure that they're well supported. And if we do that and do that well, we prosper as a business. We win customers. All that good stuff happens. Today I want to focus a little bit about Microsoft in the enterprise. We've been banging our head, and I'll use that word, we've been banging our heads on the enterprise for about 13 years. And you know what? We're an enterprise company. You don't have to believe what anybody tells you. We're an enterprise company. We, as a business, make over $7 billion a year from the largest enterprises. Can we be better? Can we do better? Is the opportunity in front of us even bigger than the opportunity we've seized? You bet. But we're an enterprise company. We've invested in people, development, sales, support, technical specialists. We've invested in the right people. When I go out in the field, I'm amazed, particularly about the technical know-how of our folks. I learn more generally in 3 days making sales calls in the field about our products than I do, frankly, in 2 weeks in headquarters. Because you have people who are working with the products, who understand them, who really know how to use them. And I think all of you should be real proud. I think all of you better spend a lot of time this week in the training sessions also, because there's so much more to know these days. I think we've got the right platform, the right partners. You know, the deal we did earlier this year with Anderson Consulting is a very, very important deal. And as Charles said, we are going to focus in on fewer partners and partners who are really going to give us something back in return. We can't just sit there and continue to beg partners who are going to give us a quarter, a tenth, a fifth of their love, their attention, and their business. We want to partner with the guys who want to partner with us. Salespeople. We've made a great investment in sales, in services. I just feel very good. The key thing I think about as I think about Microsoft in the enterprise over these 13 years is most of our focus for the first, probably 11 years was really on infrastructure. It was about the desktop, it was about managing desktops, it was about file sharing and email and user administration, and still needs to be. We do an imperfect job for people today. We don't always give people an environment that when they're done is seamless to manage, very low cost. We can do better. But we've come a long way. The place where I think we have most of the uncovered ground is in the area of line of business applications. And when people like to say to us, you're not an enterprise company, it used to mean we didn't sell to big businesses. Then it meant we only sell desktop stuff to big businesses. Then it meant we only sell desktop and file sharing and network management and user administration and email to businesses. Then it meant we only sell front-end servers. We don't sell back-end servers to big businesses. Well, that's pretty good progress. We keep narrowing and narrowing and narrowing, but this is the year to go after the big back-end line of business applications. For every brand... And I'm not saying we do that exclusively, but I'm saying we can play. We can absolutely play. The big customer database at a bank, we can play. The big back-end database in a .com site, we can play. And so we built skills. We have to go back and hone those skills. We've got to do better at the infrastructure standpoint, services, products, sales, platforms, partners. But really, the thing that we're talking about when we talk about Sundown and Oracle and blah, 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 is our ability to play in the back end. I was with Craig Barrett, who's the CEO of Intel, a few weeks ago. And they are flirting around doing some stuff with Linux. You could say that's okay. Anyway, why? Why? They're doing stuff with Linux because they believe that we somehow haven't got the ability to go win these big back-end design wins. He admits the desktop is strong and they can always lead with Windows and always win. He admits even at the application server level, they can by and large always lead with Windows and Windows wins. But they see in the back end, then they somehow think they're going to take on Sun and Oracle with Linux, which I think is insane, but nonetheless, it's a theory they have because we have yet to prove as a company that we can win those designs. And winning those designs is complicated. It takes more MCS resource by and large than we put on projects. It takes a very committed PSS model, often with a dedicated technical account manager. It takes more upfront investment in systems engineers and technical specialists. It takes a different kind of design. It takes more discussion of business value. This business value thing kind of bugs me a little bit because business value is sort of a way of saying, are you with me? Are you in the game? That's mostly what it is. And will you talk to me about my business or will you just talk to me about your products? And I think that for the people in this room, don't get confused. Making our products work and apply and sing beautifully in the customer environment, that's job one. But then also being able to talk with the technical people inside those accounts about what their companies are trying to accomplish and other great design wins that we've participated in, that's what business value is mostly about. Hey, bank number 5, at banks number 1, 2, 3, and 4, we saw these brilliant ideas which transformed the business. Can we do that here too? Good for them, And as Ian's sitting here talking about sharing IP and all that stuff, that's what the customers want too. They want to make sure that they're sharing in the best business ideas as well as the best technologies that come from other companies. I believe today, and somebody can prove me wrong, there'll be a project where this is not true, but I believe today we can take on essentially any enterprise project. I think we've got scalability sufficient for 99.99999% of all projects. And I think the whole scalability thing is a red herring that people use to hit us over the head with, that isn't the real issue. It isn't the real issue. If you look at Sun sales, Sun only sells about 1% or less of all of its systems are the UE10000. The rest of their systems are much smaller systems, certainly within the scalability hallmarks of the work that we do. It's just a red herring. Manageability. Our manageability is improving. We still have a ways to go, but the work that we've done around WMI, I think, is promising. The customer feedback we've gotten is good. The tools that people are building look promising. And I don't really think this either is a key reason we lose. Reliability. This has not been a red herring. Reliability has been an issue, or has been a hallmark that people associate with Sun and do not associate with us. And I don't think we have the reliability issues the world thinks we have. But it's up to you and you and you and everybody in this room to go work with customers and prove our reliability. People remember our old versions. People remember the experience that they had with Windows 95 at home last night. I mean, I talked to a guy who is I guess you'd call him the CEO of the largest Microsoft customer in the world. And he was saying, you don't really care about reliability, you don't really care about security. I said, oh, no, sir, you don't understand. We do. We're doing great. We're doing better every day. And what did he tell me? He didn't tell me about any problem that they'd had in his organization. He told me about the 4 computers they have at home. And 3 of them run Windows 98. And they've had some reliability problems on those Win98 machines. Now, we know we need to get Whistler in the market, mostly as part of the perception change and making sure that any experience people have with Windows is rock solid and reliable. But to establish reliability in the enterprise, you got to win a project. And between the work that our TSs, our MCS people do, and our PSS people do, the backup from the R&D group, it's just gotta work and work and work, and then we'll establish that reputation one after another, after another, after another, after another. It's the only way this thing's going to change. We're not going to be able to have the R&D guys or the marketing guys sort of, click their fingers or touch their heels 3 times, and all of a sudden people are going to say we're the most reliable. You guys are the front line. You have to work with customers every day, win projects, and establish that reliability. Not necessarily on a given machine, but it's on the application. We know our strategy is oftentimes to bring in cooperating groups of machines. So there is no single point of failure. That is a good thing. About, 8 months ago, I was down at eBay, right after eBay had the celebrated outage caused by the failure in their Sun UE10000. And I was talking to them, understanding the thing, and they admitted they have Windows systems down periodically. They've got about 500 Windows systems, and they are down periodically. But they said the way it works, it doesn't matter. They can load balance. They can share. There's no single point of failure. And so we need to focus in on overall system reliability. And that work and the architecture of those projects, that's what the folks in this room are well equipped and in a position to go do. Last but not least, I think we can take on and put skin in the game through our services in any enterprise project. We're working on a project, and it's a bit painful right now. I don't know if there's anybody here from Switzerland, but there's a bit painful project we're working on with ABB. We're doing their B2B e-commerce mall, and I guess we have about 55 people in the project. We're priming it. We have partners, and some of our MCS people, some other people, but those are the kind of projects we can't shy away from. Those are the big projects that will establish our reputation and show that we're willing to put skin in the game. And I'm not saying every project's going to be of that size, but we've got to be willing to step up and say, yes, we will be there for you. Yes, we take responsibility. Most of the time, I don't even think that means we prime, but it means the customer knows that if there's a problem, they can call anybody at any time, at any level in our company. You can always give out my email address. I'll tell you that. Steve B. Give it to any customer who asks whether we'll make ourselves accessible. And feel free to do it with any other manager in the company, because darn it, we will stand behind this stuff and leave our skin in the game. Ten 10% of Microsoft employees now work in MCS, and that's a growing percentage. We've had very good success in working on big projects between our technical specialists and our MCS people. This year we're projecting almost over $800 million of revenue, and to end the year with almost 4,000 consultants. We are doing huge projects. I talked about ABB. We're doing a product with Vodafone AirTouch to allow them to deliver wireless access to corporate data to their clients using the mobile information server and some of our other technologies. With Dresdner Kleinwort Benson, we're doing a big project with them called GRASP, in which they'll literally replace all of their banking systems with systems built on the Windows platform. With USAtoday.com, we built with them their Windows 2000, SQL 2000 system for keeping track of the Olympics. That's a big, important system for somebody in the news business. Euroclear clears about $200 billion worth of trades per day. $200 billion worth of trades per day. It's the largest settlement clearing system in the world. Their next generation system is being built on Windows 2000. I absolutely think we've got wins that establish us in this way. And we need more, and we need them in every geography in the world. And it'll require a lot of hard and tough work by our technical people around the globe. I want to turn a little bit and talk about the future. I think we're prepared, we're ready to move. I feel good about you, I feel good about the product set. We can make hay. But it's not going to be enough for us just to say what we've been saying for the same thing all these years. We've always said the PC's cheaper, the PC's more flexible, the PC is better understood by people. Those have all been good messages, and we're starting to break through in the enterprise. But the enterprise itself is changing, and we need a technology strategy that's changing with the enterprise. Enterprises today, if you ask them sort of what's the one word or the one concept that best encapsulates what they need to do and be, they need to be agile. They need to move quickly. You know, take a look at what happens in a merger or acquisition. I was sitting with the CEO of the 7th largest bank in the United States at a lunch the other day, and he was explaining to me how essential it is. The most important thing for them has been to collapse their IT systems every time they do a merger, so they can get everybody on a common set of business processes. Think about the ways in which people are outsourcing and working in new ways with partners. Think about the degree to which understanding your customer and anticipating new needs is the key to what's coming. Think about the degree to which all of our customers are telling us they want to become e-corporations. I was talking to the CIO of a fast food chain the other day, and they want to become an e-fast food chain. That's business value if we can figure that out. But nonetheless, they want to move, speed, get things done, try. If it doesn't work, fix, move, go ahead. It's about this sort of ability, not just to move fast, but to move adeptly and quickly. And the computing model that we've had in place, the industry's had in place, may not lend itself as well to that as a new computing model based on so-called web services. And certainly as we launched the .NET initiative, what we were thinking about is a computing model that pulls together elements that help really support the needs of this changing enterprise. Software as a service. Software as a service is really a way of saying software just manages itself. You know, users don't have to think about it. IT guys can think about it minimally. When you install the ERP service, it all kind of gets configured and managed and deployed automatically from the cloud. And maybe, by the way, it gets charged for on a subscription. But most importantly, the software takes care of the software instead of people taking care of the software. When people talk about thin client computing and fat clients, and some of them want to go thin clients, what they're really saying is they want software to be a utility, a service. It just takes care of itself. They don't want to really give up their PCs. Nobody wants that. But they want the software to be a service. In some senses, it's a call to take manageability and configuration to a whole new level, and to actually provide that as a service somebody could buy off the internet. XML enablement. XML is and will be the lingua franca of the internet. It will not be Java. No way, no how, no way. It just won't happen. But there's a lot of work to do to make sure that XML really is the system that people use and the schema that people use for exchanging data between applications. We have a lot of work to do in this area. It's an important part of agility. How do I hook my system up to your system? How do we collapse our legacy systems onto something new? You need a different kind of an infrastructure in which interoperability is sort of built in, if you will, from day one. If you want to provide agility, you need to be able to reach people where they are. When I'm here, I don't carry a PC, but I might carry a device in my pocket. When I'm at home watching television and you want to reach me in an intelligent way, you better reach me through my TV set. These smart devices are an important part of the kind of agility that both consumers and enterprises want to see. End users also want agility. They want to see what they want to see. How many people here would say that a third or more of their email, without rules set up, a third or more of their email would be junk mail today? That is a form of interruption which people will not tolerate. And it is getting worse. I just got my new Toshiba laptop. And in the little notification tray there on the Windows 2000 desktop, you know, I've got S3 trying to notify me when something goes on with the video card. And I got Microsoft Money popping things up when my bills are overdue. And I got email and instant. Everybody wants to interrupt me. It's my life. And we need to make sure that we provide the user with an experience that lets them control their lives and lets them manage what they see, when they see it, and lets them access it, whether it's through a traditional PC, through natural language, through voice, in the ways they want to see it. And the operational models need to evolve. If we're really going to give businesses agility, we can't say, here's a new $2 million honkin' sunbox. You either buy this or you're not in business. And oh, by the way, we have no idea when you should buy the second one, but why don't you buy it right away just in case the first one fails? eBay should have done that, by the way. We need a model in which the operation model is buy what you need. You need 5 systems today? Great. You need to add more. You need to scale. You need to grow. We need more flexible operation and deployment models than we currently have. One of the hallmarks of this .NET strategy is something we call orchestration. The ability essentially to write programs in script that moves XML, flows it around the internet, and lets it get processed on by a variety of different websites, community websites, B2B, storage servers that we would run on the user's behalf, authentication servers. I was setting up my online finances the other day, and as I got to my 10th password in the setup process, Wells Fargo needed one, the Fidelity 401k needed one. Of course, they're all of different sizes. Some guys won't let you go over 5 characters. Some guys need you to be at least 8 characters. I had this list. I had the longest sheet that I had prepared was my sheet of passwords. What can you orchestrate in a world in which nothing can recognize any business or any consumer for what they are? There's a need for these .NET building blocks that we're talking about. Who else is trying to do this stuff? Today, I can't tell you who the competitor for .NET is. The press will look at it as Java and EJB, but really the full vision of orchestration, of user experience, of interoperability, of software as a service, and a platform that allows that all to happen, I think it's darn cool that we're telling the world there's a different way to do things. We're going to try to change the world. And if we change it successfully, we'll be very successful. And it's part of the secret sauce that lets us compete against Sun and Oracle. If all we're ever saying is we're as reliable, we're as available, we're as manageable, that's not bad. We need to do that. But we also have to be able to tell these businesses, we give you more flexibility, we give you faster speed of development and deployment, and we let you do things these other guys just don't even think about. From a developer perspective, I think the dream has to be clear. You're going to hear some about Visual Studio.net. Visual Studio.net is still a year away. I wish it wasn't a year away. It's the coolest stuff we've got in the hopper yet, but it's a year away. But we need to make sure that writing these .NET applications is very natural for developers, that we have a common programming model across the Windows client, the server, and into the Internet cloud. We need to make sure that these so-called .NET building blocks become like ActiveX controls. They become essentially reusable services up in the cloud for developers. We need to give them real rapid application development for the Internet, where you can write not just browser-based applications, but rich, sophisticated applications. The world doesn't have that today. I was looking at some commentary up on the Internet. Actually, it was, I think, on one of the Java bulletin boards, talking about, you know, even though this guy didn't particularly care for Microsoft, he had to admit that the stuff that he saw in the Visual Studio.net toolkit that they got at the PDC blew away absolutely anything else he'd ever seen in terms of making it easy to rapidly create web applications. The thing I think we have to think about in the long term here is essentially what I like to think of as one-click hosting. I think if you're a developer, you just want to sit there at a workbench, and a developer might have a different workbench than the content manager in a company, but you just sit there and then you click to deploy. And you don't click to compile, you click to deploy. Your application's doing what you want it to do, you click. And your code gets put on the right servers in the right part of the world. Your content gets cached on the right servers in the right part of the world. I'm not talking about just running a building with a cage where somebody can haul in their equipment. I think from the development tools on back, the .NET vision's got to allow people to literally write an application and deploy it essentially immediately from within the development workbench. That's what software as a service would really mean. There's a lot of key technologies to make this stuff happen. XML, SOAP, where amazingly we have partnership and cooperation with IBM, BizTalk, UDDI, which we're going to demonstrate for you here in a minute, the .NET platform, and just many, many other things to come. I'd like to invite Dan Rogers, as a program manager, to come on up and join me. We're going to show you a little bit of the UDDI technology that we announced last week with IBM and Ariba. Dan.
Welcome. Welcome. Okay. I want to show you some things that we were able to do with UDDI. I'm working on the team that's built our UDDI service. that we've designed with IBM. And what we did was we took the B-Central clearinghouse application and we UDDI enabled it to allow it to find new partners that weren't part of the marketplace to begin with. And
UDDI is essentially an XML SOAP-based business directory providing data, different XML data about services that businesses offer on the internet.
Exactly. So you can describe your business, and to a business person it means you've got what kind of products you sell, things like that. But to a programmer, to a developer, I need to be able to examine what you have exposed, kind of like finding objects in the Windows registry.
Right?
And so this is the result. The premise here is that we're looking for an industrial supplier. We don't find an industrial supply category in the clearinghouse, and so we want to go out and find one. Well, I happen to know where there's an industrial supplier in Illinois, and their name is Dual. And we're now querying through the API that we wrote for UDDI, which is an XML SOAP-based interaction that we just did, and we come up with a result set that matched the simple criteria that I gave it. You can do fairly complex searches as well.
And the schema for these businesses, that's one of the things we've basically standardized through the work with IBM and Ariba.
Exactly. And now what I'm going to do is click here, and we're going to show you some things that a site like B-Central wouldn't normally show. We're going to show you the data that came back from UDDI, and then explain how this application used that data. Now, I'm not going to display it in its XML format. We kind of prettied it up here. But we can see that we can find out business information. Here with the mouse, I'll use this. We can find business information. But more importantly, we see that they've exposed two different kinds of business processes. Like here within their purchasing process, they've got two service entry points defined. I could use a Rosetta Net. If I wanted to, I could talk to Dual with a Rosetta Net order management PIP. But this application doesn't know what that is, so it can't talk.
Right.
We find a second one which this application does recognize, and deep down in the XML there's some signatures that we examine so you can determine if you're compatible in a flash of an eye. We also see that we're compatible with their catalog service, so we're going to go out and show their catalog.
This means B-Central essentially recognizes those XML schemas.
Yes.
Yeah.
We defined a service type to be able to enable this. Now, Dual is actually a real company, and they're a customer of a partner of ours, VerticalNet. But through the UDDI interface, we don't see that they're behind a marketplace like VerticalNet. They're first-class citizen in the e-commerce world, even if they may use a hosted service. So what I really want to do is find for my motorcycle some new spring locating pins, and I use a lot of them, so I'll get 300 of them.
I hope you know what they are, since you use a lot of them. What is a spring locating pin?
Well, it's this little thing that looks like this, and it's basically a stud that goes in a hole so that when you put parts together, they line up.
Super.
So
I have a hard enough time with things electronic. Things mechanical are well beyond me.
So we're going to actually get ready to buy. So we're back into something that looks a lot more like a traditional shopping cart, and that's what we did, was coded this up. And we're about to buy these things through their purchasing interface. Now, B-Central doesn't natively know how to send purchase orders to that, but through this interface that they exposed, we found this compatible interface. Now, we're going to use another Microsoft service here to fill in the form for that user experience you were talking about. And let me just type in a password here.
Some password.
It's that 9-character long one that you have to... Okay, so here, today my name is Greg Money. And we'll go get that information, pull down from our wallet. I think I clicked. Okay, there you go. And it transfers that information into my form so I don't have to use and do that again. And now we're actually going to send the purchase order to an address that we looked up through UDDI. That entry point for that purchasing interface that we recognized is essentially a URL. And this application didn't know about it in advance. We just found it, and we're going to bind to it, and we're going to send an XML purchase order. And it's going to go out to an actual VerticalNet site. Now, the next screen that comes up is more like what you would see on a purchasing site. It's succeeded, except we've modified it a little bit so we can go out and look at the order at the VerticalNet site.
Okay.
Now, at VerticalNet, they've got a schema. I'm hoping this will work. At VerticalNet, they've got a schema that's very different than the schema that Dual said they understood. So what they did out there was use a BizTalk server
To do schema transformation.
To do schema transformation. It's going to come along.
Something's coming. Slowly.
And then they wrote that into a database. Well, just in case this happened, I ran through a dry run earlier before, and I've got here on our desktop a picture of the purchase order. And you can see we ordered some stuff, including our spring locating pins, and I went out to the Vertical Net site. I can't believe it. We're going to click that again. And went into their fulfillment system and pulled up the order. And what actually happens is we can get into their order management system because they gave us access. Again, you wouldn't normally do that to someone else's customers. But that XML document, just in the rehearsal before, actually did get through.
Great. Super. Thanks very much,
Okay.
Dan.
Thanks.
Passport, UDDI, these are some of the initial services, .NET building blocks that we'll make available for third parties to reuse. I don't know what's on the screen. Could I have the demo? Okay, this will work. If you take a look at our revenue over the next year, I looked at our business in a little different way this year. I talk about our desktop business, our enterprise business, including our MCS and PSS revenue, our small business revenue from B-Central, MSN, our gaming and other device business, and just everything else that we have left. If you take a look at it, we grew these businesses by 18% overall to $22.8 billion last year, and our forecast is to grow 17% this next year, with our enterprise business growing just 25%. That's the forecast, that's the plan, that's the commitment, that's the thing we based headcount on. Is that good? Oracle's announcing results today. I was listening on the radio this morning. They're going to grow probably 17% year over year. Sun has been announcing year-over-year growths of about 45, 50, 55%. So 25% looks not horrible, but maybe with some upside. Particularly if you take a look at the numbers the other guys did. Sun and Oracle, and here I looked at not the total Sun business. I took out all their cost of goods sold. So I'm just looking at their gross margin. If you ask me, the gross margin is what they get paid for their software. Because you get rid of all the sheet metal and all that, blah, the silicon, all that crap. And you get down to the core value they deliver as an enterprise vendor. $7.3 billion. Oracle, just in the database business, had revenue equivalent to ours of about 7.5. So these are guys that are growing 15 to 30% a year on a 15 billion base. We're a $3.6 billion base. I take a look at that and I say, if we do the right job, if each and every person in this room is part of going out and getting us key design wins, the kind of design wins which are transforming in terms of enterprise infrastructure, as well as particularly enterprise line of business applications, we have a real opportunity to grow faster, and a real opportunity to see them grow less fast. Not that that's particularly an objective, but it's another way of measuring our progress. One of the issues that we have wrestled with over the years is how much energy can we put into a line of business application win when our prices are so low. Our prices are going up. You can see here our prices, last generation of prices, and our price list on a go-forward basis. I did not put the data center version of Windows on here because I didn't want the slide to get too busy. But look at the SQL Enterprise product. It's up to $12,000 from $4,000. Take a look at the new BizTalk Enterprise version, $25,000. These are not prices that look high in comparison to other enterprise applications, but they are enterprise middleware. but they're a lot higher prices than we are used to selling. And it will put even more burden on us from a technical standpoint in the field to make sure we put the skin in the game and we prove to people that our software, with our services, with our support, can really make a difference and really help them be more agile as businesses. I think we can beat Sun and Oracle. I think we have the tools today, and we're working hard on the things which will make it easier for people to develop and deploy applications. We have all the advantages we've ever had in PC hardware. We're much more bet on XML than they are, and we can prove we have the reliability, the scalability, and manageability that they do. Linux, there's a lot of Linux out there. There were roughly 600,000 Linux servers, I can't say sold, but deployed last year. For Linux, we're going to have to continue to keep our head in the game. Those Linux servers are a problem from my perspective. You will see us, in addition to introducing higher prices, also introduce some lower priced versions of Windows, where the Windows Server, where the product's been cut down to be just a good web page server. So we have some low price alternatives as well to compete successfully with Linux, which of course is free. Linux hasn't showed up yet on the desktop in huge measure. What's your job? Make sure Linux doesn't show up in any huge measure on the desktop. Let's keep those wins absolutely as strong as they've ever been. The next year, I think, can be a great year for us. What's your prime contribution? You've got to continue to do the work that you've done in the past, the work of really establishing our infrastructure, but you've got to get developers excited. We have the .NET framework and Visual Studio.NET to talk about. We have our first web services and the .NET servers, which we've introduced. We've got Windows 2000. We'll have BizTalk. We have UDDI. We have the ability to go get wins. We can go win big deals. We can make revenue. We can be the technical experts, but we can also share what we learn from business to be a source of business value to our customers. And the attitude's got to be simple. We're here to win deals. That's what we're here for. And we'll put whatever it takes in. We'll help you on the front end with design. We'll help you with deployment. We'll be there with you throughout the process to support you. And we need to be more expert than the guys at the next place. At the end of the day, you want my honest opinion? It's not business decision makers who make most decisions about which software platforms to use. We talk about it, blah, 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 but at the end of the day, it's usually a technical guy in the customer who says, go Linux, go Windows, go Sun. And the business guys say, yeah, sounds good, let's do that. And there's a lot of air cover. But if those technical people inside the accounts that we work with, the customers that we work with, if they're not convinced, if they're not sure, if they're not educated, if they're not with us, if you haven't reached them and connected with them and made them our allies, all the king's horses and all the king's men back up at the CIO and CEO level won't put that deal back together again. It starts with the technical people. It starts with your connection with the technical people, your relationship, your work, the quality of your thinking, the degree of your preparation. And that preparation hopefully gets dramatically enhanced during your time here, but I know most of your technical preparation is a lot of hours of very hard, very committed work that you're doing at nights, in the afternoon, whenever you can get it, just a snippet of time. The work you do is incredibly important. There's no way in that doesn't start with the technical people. You're the folks who need to make that happen. You need to establish our reliability reputation. We all need to support you, but you folks are the folks that need to make it happen. I guarantee you my support. I guarantee you the support of the development organization, and I wish you all the best luck, and I hope it's just a great MTB. Thanks, everybody, very, very much.